Okay, so here I'm going to be shutting off this. Hold on. Okay. This video is about, my partner's gonna be very mad at me if he finds out. This is my secret profile that my partner doesn't know about, and if he finds out about it, he's gonna be mad because here I am talking about stuff that will make him mad. Now, this video is about old people aging poorly. My grandparents. Oh, by the way, this is on my Fire tablet, so this is going to be one of my test videos. My one camera. I have two cameras. I have two regular cameras for photo taking, just regular picture taking. And this is really pretty. I'm looking at these pens I got. I'm going to be selling this jewelry that I bought from the librarian over here at Hudson to raise money. They were selling it to raise money for the library. So I made them a bulk offer on all this jewelry. Look at this one. Let me see. It's floating through space. Look at, isn't that pretty? Green, sparkly. It's a pin. It's a brooch. Anyways, the one camera doesn't have sound. I don't know what happened to it. I guess I knocked it against stuff too many times. And here's another one. This one has a name on it. I gotta find out where still figuring this thing out. This is the Amazon Fire tablet. The camera is not good at all. You know, it's very blurry. You could definitely not do eBay with this. But the one camera lost the sound. The other camera, for some reason, it shuts off after, I don't know how many minutes it'll shut off, and then somehow it turns back on. And get this, not all the time does it turn back on. It sometimes turns back on. So I got this tablet, and I'm trying the tablet now to see how that works. If the tablet isn't going to do well for the videos, then I'll buy another camera and just use that. But this makes it easier. It seems to upload, download, whatever you call it, to eBay or YouTube a lot faster. And I don't have to use the SIM card. Like with my cameras, of course, I have to use that SIM card. I have to take the SIM card out of the camera, put it back in put it into the computer, upload, download, whatever you call it, to the computer, then upload, download, whatever you call it, to YouTube. And it takes a while for it to upload, download to YouTube. Whereas this, when I'm uploading, downloading I don't have to use a SIM card, first of all. And when I'm uploading, downloading to YouTube, it seems to go a lot faster. It seems to upload, download a lot faster. So, now, what I'm talking about today, what I'm ranting about today, is people aging poorly. My grandparents, my mother's parents, I never knew my father's parents, not well at all. I just, met his mother a few times that I remember, and she's dead now. My mother's parents are dead now, but my parents divorced when I was young. My father never came to visit us. His relatives never came to visit us. So we didn't, I had very little to no knowledge of any of his relatives, and so I wasn't close at all to them. So I don't know how they lived their last years in life, My mother's parents they aged very poorly, very, very poorly. They did hardly anything. This looks like an earring. Where is it? I'm trying to find the camera. See, I can't find the camera now. Where's the camera? See, I'm putting the earring right in front of the camera and I can't find it. So I don't know. Oh, there we go. So I got to go over here. Okay. There we go. See, there's looks like an earring. They aged very poorly. When they retired from work, I tell everybody this. When they retired from work, they retired from life. They sat their butts in their chairs and did nothing. And I mean nothing. My grandfather did less than my grandmother. That's a pin. If you have long hair, you're not going to like this, or if it's like a sweater-like material, you're not going to like it because it will get caught up. Ask me how I know this. It'll get caught up in your hair and it'll get caught up in your sweater and cause snags and rips and tears and all sorts of things. My grandfather did absolutely nothing. My grandmother, at least she cooked and she did all the cooking, all the cleaning. I don't know why she didn't divorce him. I think it's because she got a hysterectomy and it just took everything out of her. One day I'm going to go on a rant about hysterectomies too. But, you know, she could, every once in a while, she was a painter, artist painter, like a painter, not a painter of houses or walls, but a painter of, like, on canvases. And she babysat us kids. My grandfather did nothing. Well, you know, my grandmother babysat. You know, if she went to the store, she had to take us with her because he wouldn't watch us. My mother was an only child, so there was no other grandkids. It's not like they got babysat. My mother lucked out that way. It's not, her parents did not get babysat out. You know, like a lot of parents who have multiple children, they're like, when they retire, they're like, you know, I don't want to watch everybody's kids. I got 5 kids and, you know, I'm going to have to babysit their doggone grandkids. I'm just telling everybody no. But because my mother was an only child, she didn't have to worry about that. She didn't have to compete for babysitting from her parents. But her parents didn't babysit much. They just, like I said, they did nothing. I don't know what this is from. I'm thinking it's from a souvenir from going on some sort of paddle boat. Maybe it was from a, yeah, see, it's very blurry. You can see it right now, even on the camera as I'm making this video, that it's very blurry. They didn't watch us kids much. At all. And earring. My mom had to pay full price for a regular babysitter, which wasn't as bad as it is now. Like back when I was a kid, babysitting, that was just for a little extra cash. Now people want to make a living off of babysitting. So you have all these rules and, you know, having to pay for babysitter even though you're not using the babysitter just so you can reserve your spot. Yeah, it's gotten into, it's like a cottage industry now. But, oh, here's Chico's. It's nice. Chico's. And it has the, yeah, see, it's too blurry. You can't see, but right up there, it says Chico's. That's on a chain. Lobster claw clasp right there. Oh, it says Chico's on there, too. I forgot about that. Chico's have their own little tag at the end of the, by the lobster claw clasp. They have their own little tags that they put on there. And, yeah, my mom had to pay. They did nothing. They just sat and watched TV. My grandmother read the newspaper. Grandfather read the newspaper. This was pre-internet, of course. They didn't exercise. They did eat very unhealthy. That might have been part of the problem why they didn't have any energy. They also didn't take multivitamins, but multivitamins was very uncommon back then. Only the wackadoos really took multivitamins. Now everybody takes vitamins. But, maybe if they took some B complex or something, they would have had more energy. Of course, like I said, my grandmother got a, hysterectomy, and that really takes a lot out of, again, maybe one day I'll do a video on, the bad things about hysterectomy. But I think that took a lot out of her. It took all her energy and motivation away from her. And they really did nothing. Now, and that worried me because, well, see, when I was a kid, I didn't know any different. I was just seeing what was in front of me. I didn't see all the other people who were their age and older that were doing so many things. Like, for example, all the people, well, I shouldn't say all, most of the people that were we went to church every Sunday. Most of the people that were at church, the Sunday school teachers, were people my grandparents' age or older. They're mostly women. And they were, they were doing their lessons, teaching us kids, interacting with kids, young people. What else was going on? I don't remember. We saw that some of the school teachers were my grandparents' age or older. Some of my high school teachers were my grandparents' age or older. People, go to the bank. We go to, they were my grandparents' age or older. A lot of them. And I wasn't seeing that. My grandparents, but another thing was, because they were, keeping themselves young just by being mentally and physically active and working, my grandparents aged. Like, I look at people who are, for example, I'm going everywhere with this. I should have written this down. I should have done an outline so I could actually follow kind of a script here so you could follow along. My grandparents, I remember, I don't know what age they retired. It seems to me they probably retired before I was even born, which is problem number one, retiring way too early. I remember my grandmother bragging, showing us a mug she got for her birthday, and it said, "It's 60 to be sexy. It's sexy to be 60. And I remember being able to read that. So I was old enough to read it. And my grandmother was already retired. So in other words, she retired before the age of 60. Problem number one. That's problem number one. Retiring too early. Like I said, I don't know when she retired. I just know it was before the age of 60, because I remember that mug and being able to read it. So I was a little bit older. I never remember either. My grandparents did not work. I can never remember them working. So, at a job, like you get paid or volunteer work, they never worked. And then just not being involved in anything. They didn't even go to church, which is an old people thing. They didn't even go to church. They didn't even do that. Now, that worried me. I only saw that. I thought, my God, I do not want to live to be that age, because that's not living. That's just being alive. I don't want to get to the age of 50, whatever, like them, because that's what happens. Like I said, I didn't see all the other people doing much more with their life, at the time. Just, yeah. I didn't see it because all I would see was in front of me. And I thought I probably thought the people my grandparents' age were younger, probably because they looked younger, because they took care of themselves, they were active, they weren't, depressed from just being retired and not doing anything all day. They probably just appeared younger, right? And so maybe I didn't even think they were that old, as old as my grandparents. So maybe that's why I didn't realize that there were other people doing much more at my grandparents' age than my grandparents were. Worried me because I thought, this is the role model that my mother has. Is she going to be the same way when she gets older? Once I learned that, not all old people age like that. Not all people age that. And really, when I realized that 50 isn't as old as my grandparents made it, I worried about my mother because that was her role model. My mother, I do remember my mother complaining about how her parents did not do anything. She would complain constantly that her grandparents were just bumps on logs. And it embarrassed her and it disappointed her. But was she going to take that same ideology into her old age? Well, I worried about it, because I didn't want to become a burden to my mother like my grandparents were a burden to her. My grandparents were very needy because they did nothing with their life. So they constantly needed her for stuff. My grandparents, they were so bad. They would not, I remember them renting a condo. I think it was a condo. They were renting it in Missouri. They moved to Missouri when we moved to Missouri and lived not too far from us. And they lived in a condo. So they didn't have to mow their lawn. It was in Springfield, Missouri. There was hardly any snow. At least when I was there was no snow. And so they didn't have to, shovel snow or anything. And before that, they had lived in an apartment, so same thing. No, everything was taken care of. But when they lived in the condo, they would call their landlord to change their light bulbs. Seriously, no joke. To change their light bulbs, to change the batteries in the smoke alarm, they would call the landlord. That's how lazy they had become. And my mother now is far older than, 50s. I think she's in her mid to late 70s. She's doing a heck of a lot more than my grandparents ever did. A heck of a lot more than I ever knew my grandparents to do. And so now I'm not worried about it. She, she's doing this, taking the donkey into the parade thing, teaching the donkey tricks stuff. I think she even had a stroke, and I don't know what else. She's had arthroscopic surgery on both her knees. I think she had a hip something or other, and she still goes. She doesn't completely stop saying, oh, well, I had arthroscopic surgery, so I'm no longer going to walk or anything. Now, she doesn't exercise like I think she should. She should be doing like faithful workouts like I do, but she's doing other stuff. She's got to feed the animals, and of course she probably does all the housework and whatever. Her husband's probably active too, probably helps her out. I don't know. I don't know much about him. They got married when I was like 35 or something. So, never met him, never wanted to, don't care. Now, my father, he's 81 this year. 81, I believe, this year. He was 33 when I was born. I'm 48 now. Yesterday was my birthday. So, that would make him he's 33 when I was born. 8, 9, 10. So, yeah, so he's 81. And he still climbs up 2 ladder flights, 2 stories to change the windows, put the, what do you call them? The winter windows in. What do you call them? I don't remember what you call them. Storm windows. He climbs up 2 stories, he climbs a ladder 2 stories to put the storm windows in on the second level in the house he lives in with his partner. My other mother, because they have the old-fashioned windows, right? He still goes fishing. I think he still does a little carpentry work. He doesn't do the rough-ins or anything like additions. I think he still does the, roofing, re-roofing, reshingling. and, this and that and the other, maybe, whatever, maybe a little repair work or whatever. But he definitely doesn't do the whole 9 yards like he used to. And his partner, she was 70. I think she was 70 last time I saw her. She came out here to visit, and she was still working at a restaurant. Now, I don't know if she was working, she would be considered full-time. I think she was only working 3 days. I don't know how many hours a day she was working, but she did take a lot of overtime, because a lot of people, they want to opt out of working their shift, and so she'd take up their shift. So she probably ended up working full-time every week, with all the shift work she took on. And she's still working, and they don't hire people to do the work around the house. My dad does it, or she does it. He still, processes his own fish, doesn't, just throw the fish back. Some fish he doesn't like, just throw it back. But, if he likes, I think he likes the perch the best. Like, if he catches a perch, he skins it himself, whatever, scales it, whatever, debones it. They're active. All my parents are active. And they don't call me, and they don't call me nagging me to come visit them. Now, my mom does get on my nerves, because she's been wanting me to talk to her and call her, and we're estranged, and I just want to leave it that way, because it's best for me. Don't want the drama. And my dad doesn't nag me about anything. He doesn't nag me about coming to see him. If anything, I nag him about coming to see me. No regrets on that. But my partner's parents, well, at least his father, I don't know about his mother, but his father just nags him constantly to come visit him. His father, I don't know, he's maybe 85. Ever since I've known them, they have just been like my grandparents, like bumps on a log. Now, they've done a little bit more than my grandparents. Like, they went out to, I shouldn't really say that, because my grandparents did have company over when we weren't there, and they used to, but when we were there, they wouldn't really have company, because they'd have like a drink or two or play cards. My mom would not want cards around us, because she was Baptist. Cards, matches are, what did Lee Harper say? Matches are dangerous, cards are deadly, or something like that. Yeah. So, they'd probably be drinking, maybe even saying a few swear words or something. And so my grandparents never had, but I know they had company over, right? And I know they used to go out. How much they went out, how much whatever, I don't know. So maybe it was the equivalent of what my partner's parents were doing several years ago. But they'd go, my partner would tell me, oh, they travel a lot. Come to find out, where do they travel? They travel to casinos. That's not really traveling. They're just gambling. They're staying in a dark building, staring at a screen. And when they're not doing that, they're staying home staring at a screen. They didn't go bird watching or hiking or exercising or cycling, or, they go to church every Sunday, maybe more often than that. But, and golf. They used to go golfing. They don't do it anymore. But, yeah, I mean, that was probably about the equivalent of what my grandparents did. Because my grandmother, at least she had her art, and she did take art classes every now and then. But other than that, it's just the same. And now his grandma, it's his father acts like his grandfather, my grandfather, so I'm calling his father grandfather. But his father's nagging him to come see him. They've only one time since we've lived here, and we've lived here over 15 years, only one time did they ever come out here to visit, and that was when we first moved in. My mother came to visit me once. She wanted to come visit me again, but she, I don't want her to. And then my father came to visit me like about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And now he drove down here with his partner. And I really wanted to see her more than I wanted to see him. But anyways, I digress. I do that a lot, right? Digress. So his mother's got dementia now. I heard his mother's had a hysterectomy, and that's one of the things that a hysterectomy will really take a woman down. It affects every part of her body, whether it be a partial hysterectomy or full hysterectomy. Partial hysterectomy is just uterus removal. Full hysterectomy is uterus and ovary removal. That's a castration. It's a full castration, right? But that's what it'll do. It increases the risk of dementia, increases the risk of osteoporosis. I'm getting into that, and I shouldn't. But anyway, so I can I see it might be a lot of this stuff, her lack of motivation of doing things, her lack of energy. I can see that, her dementia, I can see that possibly being from the hysterectomy. And like my grandmother. But his father, they live 2 hours away. That's 2 hours one way. That's a 4-hour round trip. And all they do is they don't even turn off the television when we're there. They just leave the television blaring the whole time we're there. Even when we're eating, like if we were eating there, the TV's on while we're eating. And I'm thinking, what the hell? It was like me and my grandparents, the same thing. When we would go over there, the TV would be blaring. My grandfather would not even turn off. Well, at least he turned off the TV while we were eating. But other than that, the TV was on the whole time, and he was just sitting there watching it. He really wasn't associating with us. And, it just finally annoyed me because my partner would complain to me about his parents, his father, I shouldn't say his mother, his father nagging him about coming over. I mean, he said he sent him an email saying, I wish you'd come see me for my birthday, because his birthday's coming up. I wish you'd come see me for my birthday. It might be the last birthday. Here I am on earth. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. I didn't know his father was so nagging. I knew he nagged a little bit. I didn't know it was that bad. And manipulative. Oh my gosh, it's so manipulative. And I was telling him, I just told him, because I don't want to hear his complaining, because he's just enabling this. Instead of setting his foot down and saying, stop it, he's just brushing it off and complaining to me about it. Well, do something about it. Don't complain to me. I don't want to hear it if you're not doing it. I'm one of these people. If you're going to complain about something, I love to hear complaints. I love hearing people complain. But only if they're actually doing something to try to prevent that from happening again, right? He's not doing anything to prevent it. I said, did you tell him to stop? Did you tell him that's manipulative? No. Well, don't complain to me about it, okay? You're not doing anything to try to prevent it. So, I told him, I says, your parents, you're just, they're too needy or something like that, just because I was sick of hearing about it, And he says, well, my mother's got dementia and here was the one thing that annoyed me. His father wanted him to drive the 2 hours one way to come put the window, what do you call that, plastic around on the windows on the inside, to keep the drafts out. You know how easy that is to do? I do that, okay? And it's super easy to do. It's just tape. Tape and a hairdryer. And the only thing you have to provide is the hair dryer. The plastic, the tape, everything's, the instructions, it's all there. You just put it on and anyway, so I says, he's not even doing that. I says, my father climbs a ladder to the second story to put in storm windows, and your father can't even put plastic on the inside of the house. He's in the warm house being able to do it. And my partner, this is what my partner says, he has a bad rotator cuff. And and so it kind of went into an argument with my partner. He was like, well, you of all people should know you have to go to the chiropractor to use the restroom. I don't know if I told you all this in any of my previous videos, but my L3 or L4 on my spine gets messed up frequently, and I need to go to the chiropractor like once or twice a month so I can use the restroom. You know, it pinches a nerve or does something in there to where, you know, if I'm sit a certain way, or if I do my exercises wrong, it'll mess up the back, and then I have to go because I can't defecate, right? Well, here's my thing. I don't let that stop me from exercising. I don't let it stop me from, and this is the difference. His parents, they get a little ache or a pinched nerve, and they say, oh, well, I can't do it because I get a pinched nerve. Well, do it and take it up with the chiropractor, or figure out what you're doing wrong. My pinched shoulder, I was having problems with my pinched shoulder when I was doing, you know, I can't lift over 25. Here's another thing. I can't lift over 25 pounds because I got prolapse. You know, at least I can't lift over 25 pounds in a standing position because of my prolapse, right? I don't stop lifting. I don't stop exercising because I have prolapse. I'm not supposed to run because I have prolapse. It'll make the prolapse worse. I don't say, well, I can't do any exercises because I have prolapse. I had a treadmill, and I would walk the treadmill 2 miles an hour for an hour, about an hour a day, sometimes hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes I go 3 hours. You know, I do 1.5 hour increments twice a day and do 3 hours. Well, I found out that, you know, I started having sciatica problems. I narrowed it down to that being one of the issues of me having sciatica issues. Now, sciatica issues cannot be resolved with chiropractic. I asked my chiropractor, he says, no, he can't do that. He can help me with the bowel movement problems, but he can't help me with the sciatica. But he did show me exercises to help prevent sciatica pain, which I started doing that instead of saying, oh, well, I can't walk on the treadmill. I did end up getting rid of the treadmill because if I walked on the treadmill for that hour, I'd have to do a full routine of these stretches to prevent the sciatica pain at night. Like, I'd wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning with severe sciatica pain if I had just walked on the treadmill for my hour and not done any of these other exercises. And I thought, why waste an hour walking on the treadmill, which really, I wouldn't even call that cardio, because it wasn't raising my heart rate high enough for anything, right? So I thought, why not just get rid of this and just do the faithful workouts? Because I found out that the faithful workouts helped me. It eased my hot flashes and it eased my sciatica pain. And it also helped me with my pinched shoulder as long as I was in the proper position while lifting weights, right? Like I said, I adjusted to my new lifestyle. I'm aging. I'm starting to have problems because of, you know, lifestyle choices or just regular old aging. And most of it doesn't even have to do with lifestyle choices. It just has to do with gravity, right? And wear and tear on body from, you know, age. But I didn't say, oh, I can't lift weights because a pinched nerve. I can't lift weights because of sciatica pain. I can't lift weights because I might not be able to go to the bathroom. No, I just adjusted, right? I make sure to go to my chiropractor when I need to. And then I still do my workouts. And I make sure to try and stand right. If I stand right, if I make sure I don't sit up in bed, sitting up in bed causes my spine to disalign, and then I have to go to the chiropractor. Sitting on this couch, I have this couch with no support. I figured out that was causing me some lumbar problems, and I'd have to go to the chiropractor because I couldn't go to the bathroom. It was also causing me sciatica pain. So I try to avoid sitting on that couch. I bring a chair in the living room if I have to sit down. So I adjust. I don't just say, I can't do it. The reason he probably can't lift his arm now, because I know a lot of people who've had rotator, surgery. His rotator surgery was from, I think, golf, right? I know a lot of people who had the rotator surgery because, golf, throwing their shoulder out from golf. You have to make sure you exercise afterwards. You have to do the rehab and you'll be fine. They didn't do the rehab. They used that as an excuse not to do anything more. Just to stop it there. Oh, I had shoulder surgery, so I can't do anything anymore. That contains lifting my arms above my head. Well, you could lift your arms above your head if you exercised that back in rehab, but you didn't do the rehab. So now you just use that as an excuse not to do anything, and that's not what I do. I didn't take this argument this far, but I wanted to take the argument that far. My thing is, don't let it stop you. If you get into a problem, you say, oh, well, my pinched nerve. There's certain exercises that I can do that I've learned in Faithful Workouts that if it does start hurting, if I do these specific exercises, it'll unhurt it. It'll get back to not hurting. There's also a rolly ball my chiropractor gave me. So if I start feeling it pinching after I'm done with the workout, the Faithful Workouts, I only feel it pinching when I'm actually lifting weights, doing these exercises. Well, after I'm done with that workout, I'll take that rolly ball and roll it on my back. You put the ball between your shoulder and the wall, and you roll up and down and side to side and, kitty corner, and that helps relieve the pain and get your muscle back into, your all that stuff over there, whatever's going on, it gets it back into normal. So I don't use that as an excuse. His parents use that as an excuse to just stop doing anything, right? Just adjust. And make sure if you have a problem, make sure you do whatever you can to try and get that problem corrected back to as good a like new shape as you can. My prolapse, I don't use that as an excuse not to lift any weight. I just don't lift over 25 pounds when standing. All right, I bought these EVB shorts or capris. So when I do have to do the jumping up and down, it won't make my uterus go bouncy, 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 bouncy and making my prolapse work worse. Costs a little bit of money, but I bought a couple pair to help prevent my prolapse from getting worse. It doesn't reverse it, it just helps it from getting worse. I also take a couple of amino acids, glycine and carnitine, and lysine. And that's supposed to strengthen the uterus, give the uterus more strength, muscle strength, I think they say. But anyways, it's supposed to strengthen your vagina. And the lysine is for all around vaginal area health, pelvic health. But anyways, I take them. I also make sure I become vegan, so I get more fiber, so my bowels will move, so I don't strain. Straining while urinating or defecating will cause prolapse to worsen. So I also invested in a stool, just a stool somebody was selling resale, so I can put my feet up as a squatty potty when I'm urinating and defecating, so it'll empty out easier, so there's no strain when I'm using the restroom. I haven't used it as an excuse to stop. See, his parents, when they come into any type of health problem, They use it as an excuse to stop living life. And I don't. I say, okay, I've got this roadblock now. I'm going to figure out a way to get over that roadblock. I'm going to move it. I'm going to jump over it. Do whatever I have to do to not let it prevent me from living. And his parents really now are just alive. They're not living. They're just alive. And it's pathetic. You know, and it's annoying. You know, when one of his parents die, we're probably going to have to take the other parent in. I don't want them living with me. I don't want that bump on the log living with me. You know, that's just going to inhibit my life. And I'm being a stay-at-home business owner. I'm the one that's going to have to do the majority of the work. I don't want that. I don't want my own parents living with me. I definitely don't want my partner's parents living with me. Anyway, so that's my gripe of the day. Don't use health problems as an excuse to not do stuff. Use it as a motivation to learn new ways to do stuff. And every person who has a handicap, especially if they become handicapped, if they're not born with the handicap, know that this is how it has to be. I know a woman, I saw a woman on a talk show many years ago. She has no arms. She learned how to do everything with her feet. Putting on makeup, curling her hair, eating, everything was done with her feet. Yet these bumps on the log can't even lift their arms up past their shoulder to put the plastic on. And I'm thinking this whole time, what's wrong with his mother? Yeah, she might have dementia, but I mean, she's not gonna burn the house down trying to put the plastic on, you know. And her father can his father can supervise while she does it. You know, he can do what little he can do, and she can do the rest. I mean, now they're using this dementia as a case for not doing anything. You know, and my grandfather had dementia, and even he did more than that. My grandfather was a bump on a log, and even he did more than she's doing now that she's got dementia. It's just... Anyways, I'm hoping that he doesn't find this video because he sure is going to yap about it. But my parents are very active. They want to... When they say they want to be independent, they mean it. They don't want any help. And I don't think they've even said that. I've never heard of them even say that. They just keep doing. You know? And it seems to me, the more I hear people say, when I'm old, or, you know, if they are already old, well, I don't want anybody to help me, you know, I want to be independent. That often means they don't want to be independent. They're going to like nag people to do stuff for them, make demands of people instead of doing it themselves, or pay people to do stuff for them instead of doing it themselves. You know, like my mom still mows her own lawn. My dad still, you know, I don't know if it's him or his partner. They probably take turns mowing their own lawn. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. But anyways, so that's my rant. Don't make excuses for not doing stuff. Use it as motivation to find new ways to do that stuff. Bye.